Good afternoon and welcome to the 21st Annual Exhibit of Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Technologies. We've been here since 1995 discussing the innovation, the development and the marketing of this technology. Of course, development is a big word in this industry. It's very important and we have a specialist in this field, someone who helps us to actually develop this, integrating his technology with the university and getting people to work on new solutions. So sit down and have a drink. The drinks are on the house. And please welcome with me Ralph Schanz, who's Sales Manager at Heliocentris Academy. Please welcome Ralph.
Hi.
Hi. So you've got something to bring with you. I should be helping you, of course. I'm standing around being useless.
I guess I can handle it.
Oh, I thought you were going to put it on the table.
Yeah, no.
So, welcome, Ralph. First question, I think Heliocentris deserves an introduction. Where you're located, what does the company do, and how did it develop?
It's interesting. Heliocentris was founded in 1995, the same year the first time this exhibition was held. So the company was founded in 95, so it has a history on 21 years. And in the beginning, Heliocentris was focused on educational products just for school educational market. We saw that there is a demand for it. And we saw there's a big benefit to combine new technology with traditional curriculum stuff you have to teach in schools. And so we started with small educational materials for schools, again, secondary educational level, and we did grew with the demand on the products to higher educational products for a university. And in the beginning, it's around about 15 years ago, we sold the first fuel cell stacks to universities, just the stacks. Be aware that the university, they tried to do their own control unit, and we figured out that it's not that easy to run a fuel cell, and 80% of the fuel cell came back destroyed because on the missing controller. And so we developed on this experience with the customers now 21 years the complete fuel cell educational products.
Of course, you have two technologies here that are on display. Addressing two levels, one sort of like school to early university, the other is really, for me, a fascinating take on where the applications are going. Perhaps we could start here with, and of course we're talking about the classic PEM cell in this case.
Right.
A low temperature application for using hydrogen as an energy carrier in primarily a mobile device. So what are we looking at here? What have we got in front of us?
Okay, we do have here on our booth, which is next corner, and everybody is invited to visit us afterwards. We present just two product lines. One is for the vocational education developed. It's also an application product, which does have included everything are necessary for a classical car driven on a hybrid system with batteries and a fuel cell and the hydrogen tank, including the hydrogen filling station. This is more related to vocational education and lower level university educational level. And the second is a more sophisticated 1.2 kilowatt hybrid energy lab, not just focused on the fuel cell, it's focused on a complete energy management. And we are also skipping a little bit on our focus from the fuel cell also into the batteries, because there is also a demand and knowledgement about the batteries, how to control a battery, how to run a battery, what are the basic on batteries. And so with this new system, we also teach and show to the students as well as to the professors how a complete hybrid energy lab system could work.
And this small device here, it's such a picturesque example here. Let's look at it and describe exactly what it demonstrates.
Okay, the biggest issue on this product is always to show the benefit on fuel cell as well as the problems the fuel cell will have. And the biggest benefit on fuel cell is how fast you can recharge a fuel cell car. The batteries, they do have their problems in recharging the batteries as well as in the distance. And we can show here, which I will do better later on our booth, that you can refill a hydrogen car within seconds because you fill the car with a fuel, which is hydrogen. Instead of batteries charging, and the battery charging will take more than 1 hour. So this is the first aha effect to see what's the big benefit on hydrogen. You can refill the car in a short time and realize a long distance if you compare it to batteries. On the other hand, it's always discussed the efficiency on fuel cell, which is a good efficiency if you compare it to combustion engines, but it's a bad efficiency if you compare it to batteries. The batteries, they will have 90% efficiency. If you compare it with fuel cells with 50%, the batteries will make the race. So you see, this car will have include both experiences and topics and lessons related to fuel cell with the benefits as well as with all the problems coming with the fuel cells to solve the problems.
And these issues are critical, aren't they? Because there are already existing markets. I always like to talk about development and technology, but of course it presents the image of the fuel cell industry as something that is not yet ready with the product. So I would like to address the role your products actually play in helping to develop, to conceptualize future applications. Just to remind everyone, though, first of all, yes, you can run a vehicle on a fuel cell. Yes, you can run a vehicle on a battery. But batteries that are drained down to zero, they don't like that. They like to maintain a certain charge. And they don't like to be powered down to zero. So actually having a fuel cell that kicks in and maintains the charge is critical to the life of the battery. Sure, the batteries are more efficient, but that's only if you can place exactly the demands on the battery that the battery requires. To get back to my topic, though, the niche applications are things like forklift trucks. They're already viable. That is, they are affordable because you don't need 3 sets of batteries. You need one vehicle which you can refuel in a minute or two. These are viable applications. What interests me, and this is specifically what you do, if you imagine people saying, oh, let's change the forklift truck. It used to be a diesel motor or pure batteries, so we'll just change something. That is, instead of redesigning, they kind of think that, well, the bicycle with the training wheels and the bicycle without the training wheels is the same thing. No, it's not. The operation, the application can determine. And it's really difficult here. We have testing facilities for fuel cells alone, but what you've developed is specifically a device that allows people to look at potential applications. So were you focused? How did you actually work towards the development of this device that allows you to test this brilliant marriage between batteries and fuel cells?
Okay, we have the big benefit being in the market since 15 years. And so we are also getting a lot of feedback from the customers. What are the needs? What they have to know? And what we are offering is knowledgement. We are saying, okay, you want to get and collect more experiences and more knowledgement on batteries, we give it to you. Or you want to have more knowledgement on fuel cell, we give it to you. So what we are offering is knowledgement. And we offer it always as a complete program, including course material, including curriculum, including experiments, and everything together. And just giving an example, everybody is using batteries. Everybody is using lithium-ion batteries. But beside the community here, mostly the people, they don't have any idea how a lithium-ion battery is working and what are the basic standards on lithium-ion batteries. And this is what we are bringing into the schools, and this is what we are bringing into the university and colleges to work with these units, not just working with the books, reading it out in theory, to work with it and then to get the feeling on this technology, on battery technology as well on fuel cell technology.
Of course, when you are working on observing how a battery is performing, how effective is the match between the battery and the fuel cell, what you really need is a whole infrastructure of software that monitors exactly what these things are doing, calculates what rewards or losses there are when you change the parameters. Do you expect these people buy your product and then develop their own software, or do you deliver a software package that allows them to monitor and test what they're doing?
We deliver a complete key solution product. Everything is developed for the complete components. So and this is also the challenge for the customers. If they run the fuel cell and if they run the electronics, they have the problems to match both together. And we match the electronics, we match the fuel cell, we bring together the batteries, and we have a control system which protect the customers that you will not destroy the components. And so it takes a lot of time. If you want to qualify all the components to work with each other together, it takes a lot of time for our customers, university, and time is money. And mostly you have to test or to qualify 3 or 5 components each, and then in the end it costs much more than just buying it from us, because everything is qualified, everything is standardized, and everything is working together. And it's also really a big challenge to bring all the data together. The data from the fuel cell, the data from the electronics, the data from the batteries, and then to show it in an overview and to bring it in an experiment platform. So this is what we are offering.
I should add that we do have a minute for a question from the audience. If there is any questions, just raise your hand and we'll race over with the microphone. For me, it's interesting to raise the issue. I mean, acceptance of this technology is still not there. People, or a lack of information as well. There are 2 ways to approach your line of work, I suppose. One would be to say this is a learning device for university engineers, people studying, or it is a developmental technology. That is, it literally is more focused towards people who are developing niche applications, not simply learning about how to network the applications, batteries and fuel cells. Do you cover both? Do you focus on one or the other? Which do you do? Is it university students or is it manufacturing ideas?
The university students. That's what we are looking for. And it's very interesting because everybody, even if they are young people, they are interested in hydrogen because it's part of the future. They want to take part of this technology. But if you talk about hydrogen, they are always afraid about hydrogen, to work with hydrogen. So we are pioneers because we say, okay, hydrogen is a gas and a dangerous good, but it's manageable. You can manage it, but you can work with hydrogen. And it's the same if we go to departments. If we go to university departments, they like to work with fuel cell, but they're afraid about to work with hydrogen. But you have to work with hydrogen if you work with fuel cells. And so this is what we are in the beginning, what we are also learned, and what we still have to do is to convince the customer that it's not this big issue to work with hydrogen as a fuel. But if they never worked with hydrogen before, they in the beginning they step back if they think to work with hydrogen. And this is also the next hurdle. If they want to work with hydrogen, yeah, but we don't want to work with hydrogen, with fuel cell, but not with hydrogen, which comes always together. And this is also the basic work we are doing on the university to say, okay, we offer safe systems in the beginning with metal hydride storage with low pressure. So all the systems we are offering are working with low pressure. So it's from the safety regulation easy to work in labs with this kind of hydrogen storage system.
This reminds me of when we go back to 1995 and even later when we were here, we really had the issue of talking about technologies which we were not allowed to operate in this building.
Right.
Direct methanol fuel cells, they said no. Hydrogen with hydrogen storage devices, they said no. And only over the course of the last 20 years could we actually demonstrate for the audience what has now been approved, because this is safe technology. But that message has obviously not arrived at all universities.
No, not at all. We are still on the beginning. And I thought we did a lot of pioneer work in the last 20 years, and we went some steps further. But we are more or less on the same stage as we've been 20 years before. If they never work with hydrogen, they are afraid to work with hydrogen still.
So obviously that needs to change. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. One of the things I find so important about this, again, is focusing not simply on the purest fuel cell, but the combination between batteries and fuel cells, because these are the applications that give mobile cars the range that we need, delivery vehicles the range that they need, buses. It's just across the board. It's a very fundamental role. So we're thankful for you for creating this test technology. I think everyone should visit the booth and look at the other device that is here, the Hybrid Energy Lab System with 1.2 kilowatts. It's right behind us, C73. And we should continue the conversation there. Ralf Schanz, it's been a pleasure talking to you, sales manager from Heliocentris, academia. Hope to see you back next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralf. And thank you. We will be continuing in just 1 minute. My colleague Robin will be up on the stage talking to Mark Kammerer from Hydrogenics about the latest heavy-duty apps for fuel cells. So it's going to get heavy and it's going to get duty. Be prepared.